Hello and welcome to another 4th level fighter video. I am going to show you a little behind the scenes on Foundry for our upcoming game of Vaesen. We are going to be playing the Night Sow from the mystery book A Wicked Secret, and this is looks like a rather short and straightforward adventure. I've made a few changes to it, and we're going to play it hopefully in the next couple of days. I'm going to show you kind of what I have in store for it. I'm pretty new to Foundry. Let's go ahead and pull this in, and we'll just get going on this. I'll kind of give you a little tour of what we have here. So we've got, this should start us here at the landing page. I think I've shown this before. I got the idea to do this. I think it was from Cantrips Media on YouTube. She had shown how she made landing pages. There's a few videos out there that show it. Hers was the best and most helpful. But basically, I just took an image. I used the Monk's Active tiles to make tiles on the table. In fact, if I turn this on, you can kind of see sort of where the different tiles are on the table. And then I set triggers on all those things so that if we click on them, like if I want to pull up Imogene's character sheet, I just click on her picture and it pulls up her character sheet. If I want to look at the map of the Mythic North, I can just click on it and it takes us right to that scene. I can also open up the group journal kind of for what has happened, and this is something that my players are able to have access to and keep an accounting of. It's also got the city map. If I click on this Uppsala map, it'll open up that. If I do the Vaesen discovered, it opens up another journal. I've got some active lighting effects on here. This candle is lit just to add a little ambiance. It's kind of cool. But what I'm interested now in doing is showing what I did for the adventure A Night Sow, or the Night Sow in particular. Now, I did purchase the module from Free League, and so if I go to like the compendium, I've got the Wicked Secret. Like here's the Night Sow. It comes with actors, items, journal entries, scenes, and folders, and you can just import everything, which I did. But then I'm going to change it. I'm going to change some of the adventure, a little bit of the plot, and a little bit of kind of how it's going to progress. Hopefully, I don't want to railroad my players into it, but I have a couple of key scenes that I really want to have occur, and the good thing is they don't have to be forced. They can just occur naturally because I know my players. I know what they're going to do, and I can kind of tailor it to that. It's kind of directing them without giving the impression of being pushed in a certain direction. The first thing that I did is I read through the adventure, and there's going to be spoilers from here on out, so please, if you are hoping to play this at some point, or if you are my players, stop watching until after we've played it. But there's going to be some spoilers ahead. Basically, in the adventure, we can pull up the Night Sow here. Where is it? Right there. You have been sent to help their old acquaintance, Linnea Elfaclint. She gets a letter from a friend named Olga. We haven't really touched upon Linnea. We haven't really touched upon the society. They're just kind of out doing their own thing, and there's sort of this background of Linnea and whatnot. So I changed the whole beginning. So rather than Linnea asking the players to go and do this for them, a letter arrives addressed to Linnea at their residence, and they read it, and it looks like someone needs help. And so I went ahead and the adventure comes with some handouts for the Night Sow. Like here's the invitation from Linnea. We're not doing that. That's cool looking, but we're not going to do that. There's a letter from Olga. Again, that looks cool. We're not going to do that. I've got kind of my own custom handout that we're going to use. I do have it might be in the journal here. Yeah, so in the journal that I've set up, here's Olga's letter, and it's a little different. So they're going to get something addressed to Lily, and maybe they know who that is, maybe they don't. Either way, it sounds like someone named Olga needs help, and it sounds like this is something they would go and do. And so they know they need to go to help Olga in this city, that something's going on. They need help, something to do with a special secret. Well, that's the players right there. Bring the tools you can. There's a mess. So they're going to go. If they do a little studying around, in the normal adventure, you find an article from today's news that talks about the sin in Mola. Now, we're not doing that. I don't think that's a good approach. It's just not the direction that our game goes. Basically, the sin is that men and women are swimming on the same beach. That's not exciting for me, and it won't be for my players, so we're skipping that. Honestly, most of the religious stuff in the game we gloss over or I change. It's not that it's bothersome, but that's not what I want in a game. And then there's also another... The Occult Heritage of the Hill is a letter, or a journal entry about Mola. And a lot of this stuff I wanted, but some of it I didn't. So I've got in my custom handouts, I made a newspaper clipping, and there's a website where you can go and do this. And so they will find this clipping, and it talks about there's protests in southern Sweden that people outside the Mola Seaside Hotel are vocal. They don't really say why, it just says that the city elders have called for a boycott, alleging that they pose a bad influence on the village. It mentions two NPCs in particular, the priest, Algot Kransvik, as well as it mentions Magnus London, the lighthouse keeper. So there they've got two leads, and they can follow those up to see who they think might be perhaps guilty. I've also got the Occult Heritage of the Hill here. I changed it. So they did find like a 50-year-old journal, and it just kind of describes the supernatural lore surrounding Mola, and that there's dark powers wielded by the devil himself that raised the peninsula from the ocean depths. Rumored that a family blessed with the site has guarded the village for generations to prevent the energies harming those that dwell on the peninsula. So this is the gist of the other article. It just is kind of parsed down into what I think is most important. When they arrive, I've set up some scenes ahead of time. If you have the module, it does come with some scenes. It's mostly maps, so you get like, let me switch this off. You get different maps of like the Seaside Hotel map. You get the map of the hill. You get a map of the lighthouse. You get a map of the rooting cave. These are good. We do a lot of theater of the mind, and to sort of influence that, what I've done is I have made separate scenes. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front that this is using AI art. This is through Midjourney. If that is not your thing, I get it. I've got my own opinions of it. Most of them are neutral, some of them are bad. But for my own personal use, I use it, I allow it. It is not something I would ever receive money for, compensation for. Your ethics will vary from person to person. If you like AI art, I'm going to show some. If you don't like it, don't do what I did. Find, free art online. There's plenty of it. Or draw your own pictures. But basically what's going to happen is when they arrive in town, this is the scene that will greet them. And if you're familiar with the adventure, when they get to town, they find Olga's body. I've got a scene here of a woman in blood out in kind of a darkened village. I've got the lighting effects on this lantern. You can kind of see the area of the light. It just kind of adds a little cool effect. But this sets the scene and lets them know what's going on. In the adventure, as written, there's really only like 3 locations that you would visit. One of those is the Seaside Hotel, which here I've got a little picture of kind of the outside of the hotel. And I'm actually going to make a little change here. I'm just, well, I got you here. I'm going to lock that in. Perfect. I've got lighting effects right here. It kind of casts an eerie green glow. Some lighting effects on the lanterns. And then you've got some people out front. It looks like they're sort of protesting. And so we'll spend some time here just with this as the image on the screen, kind of discussing what's going on. Maybe they meet some of the people out front or get to talk to some of the people out there, the villagers that are protesting the hotel. And then when they go in, we can use the map that was given in the module. Although how much we'll use it, I don't really know. Probably not much at all. There's a couple other places they might go to. One is the chapel. Oh, let me switch off of this, and we'll view it. One is the chapel, where they can meet with the priest. And then the other is the lighthouse, where they can meet with Magnus. And I've got some cloud effects here, and I've got a light effect here for the lighthouse, using the lighting effects, the lighting controls over here. And I set it so that the light only comes out in an arc like this, like it was a lighthouse. Maybe there's a shutter on the back, so it's not shining through the back. But I think that adds a really cool looking effect. And again, this is just fluff. It's not vital to the running of the adventure, but it adds that atmosphere that I think will make it very interesting. I've also got the rooting cave. I've gone ahead and made a scene for that, and here you can see most of the elements that are in the cave. Looks like there's been a ritual here. There's a broken, or pieces of a broken cage maybe, and that will all come into play. I've also got a new location. It's just hinted at in the adventure. It's it's like a tavern, or an inn. I think it's called the Mulla Inn. Well, the Mulla Seaside Hotel and the Mulla Inn, it's a little confusing, so I changed the name to the Wellspout Inn. And this is clearly where most of the town goes to congregate. And so I want to give that atmosphere that this is where everybody's at. And so when they go here, they realize, anyone I want to talk to is in here, and they'll have a chance to hopefully get some information. Now, while they're here, they're going to meet a few different people, and I've set that up as kind of my Night Owl share stuff. Here's a picture of the village elders. Here's Magnus on the left. Notice the cane, which, if you are familiar with the adventure, is important. Here's the priest over here talking. I've got a separate picture of Magnus. And notice, again, he's got this right here. And if you know the adventure, you know that's important. And the priest kind of looking frantic. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to play off that the priest, to try and draw their attention that, gosh, maybe he's the one, this is some sort of religious fervor. Someone wants this place out of town. All signs would point to the priest. So they'll get to investigate that. If they go into Olga's room, I've got some artwork here that kind of lets them know that maybe Olga was up to something. I made some artwork for the actors specifically. It came with some artwork like is in the book. Like, for example, Katarina Johnson. It's got this sketch artwork, which is great. But I went ahead and used some of the artwork that I've already shown, just to make it a little bit more evocative. Here's the Vaesen right there. I like the look of that, like kind of brimstone coming off the hide and smoke and flames where he stomps. Midjourney's not great. Fingers are always an issue, and it gave him I don't know how many hooves here. That's not anatomically accurate, but whatever. It looks cool. I've also got this guy. He's a new NPC. So this is Nils Korfitsen. He's mentioned in the book, but he is going to be the proprietor of the Wellspout Inn. And so this is kind of an alternate suspect, because he has an interest in keeping all the business in his establishment and not letting someone else have his piece of the pie. And so we're going to play that up, and maybe suspicion starts to, kind of point to him at some point. There is also the three sisters of Satan, or, they are posing as artists. I love this picture. They look like just troublesome, kind of late teen girls, lots of attitude. Like, to me, that's way better than how they're portrayed in the adventure. I think that's going to be great. One scene in particular that I have come up with, which is tailored to one of the players. Imogene, she is an occultist, and her abilities specifically have to do with her tarot cards, and that's how she can do like a seance, or specifically a reading. I think in the book it's originally a crystal ball. We changed it to tarot cards because I got some great ideas I want to share with you. So I know that at some point during the adventure she will do a reading, and if it's towards the end, it's going to tie up all the loose ends and kind of help them realize, yeah, this is what's going on. If it's towards the beginning, I'm not going to do this next scene. I'm going to put down that, the signs' importance are not quite right, and something is preventing her from getting a good reading. But when it is time for a reading, we're going to go to this scene here. Now, this is a bit of mid-journey. I wanted something that was looking directly from the top down, but I kind of like this because it's easier to notice the cards here rather than if they were laying flat on the mat. I could make them so they look like they're laying flat. That doesn't bother me. This is, we're just kind of piquing the imagination. The imagination then runs wild with this. But what will happen? I made an item for tarot cards. So every single card is now entered into a compendium on here. All the items are right here. So, like everything's on there. I've got individual images of every single item. I'm going to show you how to make this really quickly. What happens is when she's ready for the reading, she will double click on one of these cards. And what will happen, when she clicks on the first one, she will double click and it will show the first card. Now, if you remember the pictures that we've had of Magnus, and he's got this he's carrying, and this is kind of like a little lighthouse out here. This should be a big clue as far as what's going on. Now, I'm going to give an interpretation of this that's going to not say like, aha, this is it, but kind of bounce around. Maybe it could be this, it could be that. But she will get to see the card, and it turns the card over on the screen, and it will stay there. Even better is in the journal, in the player journal, there is, let me get to it. There is a journal called Psychic Readings, and when she clicked on that, it put a bit of text in her reading right there. So now she's got that forever. So it says the first card was the Hermit, a lone figure staring out into the wild. He or she rests upon a staff and shines a light out into the darkness. What could this mean? Then she will turn over the second card, the Tower. And again, it will remain on the table, and it will also now go into the readings as the second card is the Tower. This can often represent ruin and calamity, a fall from grace, and a disastrous turn of events. But could it also mean something simpler? Perhaps it isn't a metaphor, but a clue. And what does that look like? It looks like a lighthouse, right? And then the last one is Judgment. And same thing in the journal. The third card was Judgment. What could this mean? Is this a final judgment for the town of Mola, or a final judgment for whomever is responsible for this? And then what will happen is if I leave this scene and come back, we've got the card backs again. These are reset. And then if she clicks on them again, it will, again, pull up the same cards. It'll do the exact same thing. And so I can keep this screen and use it for multiple adventures. All I have to do is change what happens when she clicks on the cards. So let me show you how to do that as well. So first, let's make a card. So what you want to do is to go into Items. I'm going to make another card for the Fool. So I separated the tarot into the Major and Minor Arcana. I'll go into the Major Arcana. I'll make an item. And I will call it Test Fool. Whoa. because I'm going to delete this. And then I made it gear. I honestly don't know if it matters what you make it. It's going in the Major Arcana folder. I create it, and then I just change the picture. I have all the pictures already. I found these online as well. Just Google tarot card images, and you can find them as well. That would save me a ton of time, because I thought I was going to have to find multiple images and trim and copy. And anyway, this was really easy. So then I just select that image that I want. Select the file, and now it's got the image. And then if I wanted, I could put in a description or anything. I'm not using any of these skills, nothing here. All I want is the picture, and I want it to be able to work with the tiles. So now I've got over here, I've got my test fool. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I don't need it, but that's how you would make a card. Now, how to make this. So you open up the tile controls, and you want the little box. This is going to make a box, and I'm going to make a box, and I used 100 by 150 for my size, so I'll just change that. And then I put a picture on there, and I have, with my cards, I have the card back, and so I just select that as the picture. And then I can, if I create the tile, there's now a tile here, but I want to be able to set a trigger. And so I come over to triggers, and I want to make a few changes here. So I want to click allow when paused, trigger using image instead of border, hover over pointer. I'm going to turn off that one right there, and then we're going to go to actions. And so I think I set an image as well for the trigger, but let's get back to that. We'll go to actions. First thing I set was to temporary tile image, and then it's going to select this tile, and I give it the image that I want. Let's change this one to the chariot, but you would have whichever one you want them to draw, and I want the triggering player to do this. I should also mention on the setup on the triggers, I should have pointed this out. We want to get rid of enter, and I'm going to do a double click just so they don't accidentally do it when I'm not ready for it, so we'll set it up for a double click. Let's go back to actions. So that's going to change so that it shows like the hermit over here, but I want to do more than that. I want to show an image, so a big image pops up on the screen, and what did we do? The chariot, I think it was. So we'll select the chariot, and then we'll update that, and then we're going to do one more, and this is the journal entry. So it's going to be write to journal, and then I select the journal I want, and it's going to be the psychic readings one, and it goes into the night sow, and then I can put down, this is just a test, if I can spell correctly, and it will put that, if you have append, it will put that into the journal, and then hit update, and then hit update here, and we should be done. So now if I get off of the tiles, if I click on it, double click, it shows the chariot, and then it stays the chariot, and then if I go to the journal, it now has, this is just a test. It added it to the journal. So super, super cool. Now I'm going to get this set up for when we run it. I don't want them to have this information ahead of time, so let's just delete this, and we'll just save it. So now they don't have that. I don't want this tile here anymore, so I'm going to select it. Oh, helps if I have the right tool on. I need this one, and we're going to select it, and we will just delete it. I don't need that. And that's it. So that's what I've got planned. This should be a really fun adventure. I'm super excited about this part. This is the whole reason I made the video, was to show you this. If you have any questions about how I set this up, please contact me. I'd be more than happy to kind of share my admittedly limited knowledge. I've really only started in on Foundry for like the last 2 weeks, and it's a steep learning curve. I've watched a lot of videos, and I've kind of tinkered around and found what works for me. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. I'm sure there's probably already a module out there. In fact, there's one for Pathfinder called the Harrow deck, but I wanted to use the traditional tarot card images. I can actually read tarot cards, and so a lot of times when I play like Call of Cthulhu or something, I will incorporate like an actual reading and legitimately draw the cards and do a reading. And I could do that, in this, like let's say, I'm not ready for this scene, but my player wants to just draw a card. I could just say, well, let's just open up, randomly this one right here, and let's see what it is. But it's the Five of Cups, so we can give a reading for the Five of Cups. So looking at the picture, it's someone that is looking forlorn, and they're looking to the left, which tends to be looking to the past. And notice that it looks like there has been a party or something, and now everything is knocked over and spilled. Whatever happiness there was is gone. The person is looking longingly back to the way things were, wishing the things could be like that, but they're not. And the person is aggrieved because of this. The three of the Five Cups are clearly empty. The other two, there may be water in there, there may be not. There is a river where the person could refill those cups, but they're going to have to make a short journey to get there. So then, we can interpret that based on what they're trying to do. Like maybe they're asking a question about, what happened to Katarina Johnson, the person that owned the Mola Seaside Hotel. And I can say, well, clearly, there was something has happened, and they wish they could take it back, but they can't. And whatever has transpired has affected them. And if you know the adventure, you know that they unwittingly released the Glosson. And so it lets you know that Katarina, something happened, and they can't make it better. And maybe the three cups that are spilled over represent the three sisters. You can tie that in. And that's just, off the top of my head, I just pulled out Five of Cups. So it's just giving a reading. Giving a reading is a fantastic skill to have for adventures like this, where there is some sense of mystery, supernatural elements. It's fantastic. So I wanted to incorporate something special in Foundry, and this is how I've done it. So we hopefully will get this game played here in the next couple of days. I think I'm ready to go. My players are really eager to go. They're going to have a lot of fun with this one. This one can be dangerous, and I'm hopeful that they don't, no one loses their life, because it could definitely happen. But fingers crossed that they survive and that they have a good time. And I think the moment when they draw these cards and say, aha, like, I've seen someone that looks like this before, I know who it is, and then we get the final confrontation. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching. I appreciate all the people that have subscribed. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. That will encourage me to do more and to share more and to get better. Our videos are already getting better from the time we started until here we are now. Again, it's great to see the support, and hopefully this will help someone else maybe level up their game a little bit. Maybe go from a 4th level fighter to the 5th. Thank you.